out for another video. This is a follow-on from the $100 camp. One of the questions I was asked after that video was, what do I do if I don't have trees to hang my tarp from? So what I'm going to show you today is how to put a tarp up using a couple of poles. Now the poles themselves, I've tried to keep the price down. I've actually manufactured these myself out of a couple of pieces of steel I got from Bunnings, the local warehouse. The details will follow in this video of actually how it was made. Quite simple, no major tools needed apart from a hacksaw. That's really, and a little bit of time. Okay, let's get started. Okay, what you need to do now is get all the guys fairly taut. It's called fettling. I'll just straighten all this up and then we'll start the fettling done, and then we'll start putting up the tarp. Well, there we go with the end result. A little bit of mucking around. And there always is with these sorts of things, because you've got to try and get everything square. The whole idea is to try and have the sides of the tarp as flat as you possibly can get them. There's not too many ridges, so you're going to just have to move those pegs around from time to time and adjust some of the guys. But it's worth it, as I've indicated on previous videos, to have that tarp and then place your tent underneath it. As you can see, we've got a wealth of room under here. The whole idea of the tarp is just to give you that second layer of dryness, which is what you need. Now I'm going to show you one modification to this tarp, which requires another 2 tent pegs, or tent poles I should say, but again they don't need to be as robust as these steel ones. What I've actually used was the handles off a couple of rollers for painting. Quite light, and they do the job. Let's have a quick look at that. Here I've just added those other 2 poles, which have just lifted the front up, which gives me a lot more room. Let's have a quick look. By lifting up the front like this, I've got quite a large vestibule or porch area, suitable enough to store all my kit under, and it just gives me a lot more room. This sort of configuration is obviously tied back to the weather. At the moment, weather is beautiful. If in fact it was cold and windy, I'd go down for that tighter A-frame to actually keep the winds off the side, having one of those sides of the A-frame into the wind. This is really designed for those balmy sort of days, of which today is, that you can just sit back and relax and take all your let all your cares go and those sorts of things. With this likewise though, even if it was a little bit windy, I would just drop the back part of the tarp into the wind and closer to the ground. Tarp work is really all about just getting your guys tight and making sure that you move the pegs to try and get as many creases out of the tarp as you possibly can. And in most cases also making sure that you've got sufficient guys that you can actually just peg in and that you've got sufficient pegs. If you run out of the store-bought type pegs, well, again, there's nothing wrong with a piece of timber. It needs to be about yay long, reasonably sturdy, about the size of your thumb, with a slight point on it so that you can actually get into the ground. The ground here at the moment is as soft as. We've had lots and lots of rain over the last couple of weeks, including a cyclone. So it is fairly boggy, and in that particular case, if I was expecting any wind, I would want to in fact make sure that my pegs are quite long and deep, maybe even the twist type, so that they actually bite into the soil a bit more. Anyway guys, this is probably it just for the moment. Hopefully I'll get some more videos out to you a bit more frequently than what I have. As I said, we've had a lot of rain, so that put a couple of week halt in what I've been able to do, and we'll take it from there. Thanks very much for those that have subscribed and liked. It's a big boost, and particularly those that also take the time to put a comment in or ask a question. That will actually lead me into other videos that I'll put together for you. Until next time, take care, keep safe. Bye for now. For tarp work, there are probably only two knots that you need to know. First one is we're going to use a piece of cordage. It's about 50 centimetres long, and all we're going to do is put a simple thumb knot in the end of it to form a loop. Halve the cordage, take the end, bend it over, take the leading edge over the rope, up through, and then dress the knot. It's as simple as that. And there's our first part, which is just a loop. I recommend for any tarp work you probably need half a dozen to 10 of these. This is the Prossic knot. Take the loop, put it over once, twice, or 3 times if you need to. Press it down, and there is our friction Prossic. I've used thicker cordage here just as a demonstration, but this is what you need to do. There needs to be roughly, the Prossic rope or cordage needs to be about a third of the size of the main guy.